Hello and welcome to the Modern Divorce Navigator Office Hours Live. I'm your host, Billy Tarasio. I am an Arizona family law attorney, owner of Modern Law, and the Modern Divorce Navigator. The Modern Divorce Navigator is a program for people who are representing themselves. We help people throughout the country. You don't have to be in Arizona. By joining the Navigator, you get access to courses, resources, planners, live Q&A with me, but you don't get an attorney-client relationship. So I do not become your attorney. You need to use all of this advice and brainstorming and information and incorporate it into your case as you see fit, understanding that I can't be held responsible for what you do with your case, if that makes sense. Welcome to the show, Sarah. How can I help today?
Hi, good morning. I have questions regarding the subpoena process in Maricopa County. I was looking for the notes from the class we did a while ago. And just to confirm, I can use the court Family Law Center subpoena form, correct? Fill it out completely. And then do I have to have a process server serve each subpoena, or do
No.
I do it? Okay, I can do it myself.
Yeah, so the clerk issues the subpoenas and then you can mail them
Okay.
to the proper place, custodian of records or whatever it might be.
Okay, and then I don't have to file a notice of service with that, correct?
I don't think so.
Okay, I
For
didn't
the
believe so.
Mhm. You definitely want to check the rules. This is something that like we as lawyers usually never ever touch. So we're not like
Mhm.
the best source of information on how do I file this thing correctly. So definitely check the rules, but we don't file them. We just serve them on the entity that we're trying to subpoena. You can file a notice of filing with the court if you want to put on record that you have sent a something. A notice of
Okay,
filing just puts something in the court record.
okay. And then do I need to send a copy of the subpoena request to other party, correct?
Yes, yes, you do.
Okay, at the same time that I send the other ones.
Yes, because they have
Correct.
the right to
Okay,
object.
correct. Okay, I just wanted to verify that. The rules state something, the civil, they follow the civil rules, and then
Hmm.
the family court law library had told me that I probably should file once I have it served, and then I had to use a registered process server, and so it's so confusing.
It is confusing. Okay, so let's look at the rules then. So I'm just gonna look up the Arizona rules of civil procedure service of subpoenas. Okay. Okay, a subpoena may be served by any person who is not a party, at least 18. Serving a subpoena requires delivering a copy to the named person, and if the subpoena requires the person's attendance, tendering to that person the fees for 1 day's attendance. So, by any person who's not a party, at least
So
18
that's
years
fine.
old. So, you don't
Okay,
have to use um, a licensed process
license.
server, which is super helpful.
Correct. But would that constitute being able to mail it since it's technically delivered by a mailman, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's how I translated that.
Yep.
Okay. Good. But hand delivering it to said person is not acceptable, but I could hire a neighbor to do it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, not a party. Yeah, can't be you. Okay, and
Okay.
then
And
notice
over
service
18.
to other parties. The copy of every subpoena and proof of service must be served on every other party. Okay, so you don't
All
have to
right.
file it with the court, but you do have to give it to the other party.
Gotcha. Okay. And proof of service could actually just be the mailing, right?
Yeah.
Like a registered mail. Okay.
Oh, well,
Perfect.
let's see. A proof of service may not be filed except as allowed. So, no, you don't have to file it. Any such filing must be with the court. So, no, you don't have to file it.
Okay, perfect. I just plan on doing it registered mail, and then it's proof that it's received and
Absolutely.
a little CYA on all of that. Perfect. I've been waiting to have a moment to consult you on this so I can move forward because I couldn't find the documentation from my notes. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Nicole, how can I help today? Let's see. Nicole wrote me a question. It says, with Arizona judges set for rotation, how will that affect the cases that have already been heard, but there's been no ruling handed down yet? I have a dissolution with a minor child case, and our evidentiary hearing was May 22nd. I know the judge has 60 days to rule, but he's set to rotate this month. Is it reasonable to expect we'd see the ruling sooner than 60 days, or is it likely the new judge will set another hearing? Great question. So no, the new judge is not going to set a new hearing. You're not going to have to try this again, and the new judge is not going to make the decision based on the information that the old judge provided. The old judge will make the decision. They still have 60 days. So even after they rotate, they could issue the ruling after they rotate. They're just not going to be hearing any more cases in that, either in that courthouse or in that area of law if they got transferred to a different court. But great question. If you have follow-ups, Nicole, you can go ahead and put them in the chat. You are so welcome, Nicole. Tiffany, good morning. How can I help today? Good
Hi.
morning. How you doing?
I'm okay. If somebody else wants to go first, I could wait.
Okay, no problem. So the other two that are here have already asked their question.
Oh,
I don't mind though, like just hanging out for a bit. So sometimes if there's nobody on, office hours will end early, but I don't mind just hanging out. And if you guys have any other questions or things you want to talk through, I'm happy to do it.
well, I can say things. I just was going to try to, I mean, I do have a question, I guess. um, do you remember last week, my 11-year, well, she's almost 11, she's on the spectrum. I was going to try to um, be more firm about her
Yes.
spending my parenting time with me. Didn't go well. Um, she, her dad brought her over. I went and got. I'm supposed to do pickup. I went and got uh, our 7-year-old, and her dad said he would walk over the 11-year-old, and I opened the door to her flipping me off and kicking me in the shin, and she ran off. That's kind of her MO right now is running off, and so I start to run after her, and my ex says, "What do you expect? You called crisis on her the other day," and uh, and I'm thinking I need to run after her because a few days prior, she ran away and I couldn't. She wouldn't let me get close enough to her or get her back to the house. You know, it's hot out, and so I had called crisis. And that day, his criticism of me was that I didn't run after her. It's always like that with him, like whatever I do was the wrong thing, and then if I do the opposite, that's also the wrong thing. So anyway, I've talked to my attorney about this and really tried to consider the options, and she mentioned that there's a thing called a therapeutic interventionist through the court system, and so I'm I'm thinking that's what we need to do. But she did say it takes quite a while to kind of get the ball rolling on all of that, and I'm trying to do some of these things pro se from an expense perspective. Um, so my thing is for the this is my question. For the past 2 months, my ex has been, or soon to be ex, whatever, is trying to keep her primarily with him, and I have not been able to exercise like hardly any of my parenting time, and she's very not well emotionally and mentally, and he wants me to like give him like permission to continue to keep her during my parenting time so that she doesn't have this kind of meltdown where she runs away and stuff. And I do believe that it's good for her. She likes to feel in control of
Yeah.
where she's at and stuff.
Right.
But I don't want to just give him like blanket authorization to keep her indefinitely, because I don't think it's good for her, because
Right.
this is not how she normally acts.
Right.
So she's not a good version of herself right now, not a healthy, happy version of herself.
Okay. So, Tiffany, when there are special needs children, you know this because you've lived it. You have to be like, they take so much parenting, they take so much work. And the worst thing here would be you and your ex divided. And the best thing for your daughter is for her to know mom and dad are on the same page and have the same expectation of your behavior. Like, she desperately needs that.
Okay, but here's the thing. So I've emailed him that exactly
Yeah. Okay.
multiple times, and he
Okay.
won't respond.
Okay.
And the judge said that we're supposed to correspond via email, and he's supposed to respond within 24 hours. It's been,
Yeah.
one of the letters is like, one of the emails is, they're basically 7 and 8 days ago,
Okay.
and he still hasn't responded.
Does she have a counselor, your daughter?
I'm trying to get us back into therapy. We were in family therapy. We went every week, me and the girls. He made us stop in December, and then after the first of the year, they no longer accept our insurance. And so I've been trying to find a place that I thought she would be, that the counselor would be a good fit. Anyway, I found a place, and I'm filling out
Okay.
the paperwork as we speak so that I
Okay.
can get us back in.
So, Tiffany, first I want you to like take a deep breath and understand that you're doing this well. You're doing a great job. And we got to think strategically and we got to think long term. So, I wouldn't freak out about the next visit, right? I wouldn't make this about like what happens this week. We really are planning here for long term. And you are already managing your ex and the relationship and your daughter and thinking long term. So well done. You can't get your ex to not think of you like you're the enemy and like he's winning while you're in litigation, which makes this so hard. Do you think your divorce case is likely to settle?
I never thought that it would go this far, so I don't know if I'm a very good person to answer that, because there have been multiple times I've thought, oh yeah, that won't be an issue, this won't be an issue, but everything is an issue with him, and so
Okay.
maybe not.
Okay. Okay. And have you all gone to mediation, or are you planning to go to mediation?
Yes, we will go to mediation, but first I need to file this continuation of our temporary orders, because our hearing wasn't long enough, and so
Oh, yeah.
all he ruled on were like a couple of the issues.
Right. Okay. So I would try to get into mediation as soon as possible, I think, because the best thing for your family is going to be to wrap up your divorce so you can figure out how to co-parent a very, very difficult child. And so that dad can realize that this isn't about winning, because right now your kid is getting weaponized and put in the middle, and you just you're collateral damage, and so is she.
Okay. Okay.
So I think you're doing everything right. And, I do think TI or using your child's therapist as kind of a way to center you guys as her parents would be really good. Legal decision making is going to be a problem because major decisions are going to have to be made for this kiddo in terms of treatment. And you could end up in a situation where if you have joint legal decision making, there's just deadlock and nothing can get done.
Yeah, which is, so that was, in our temp hearing, I tried to ask for sole decision-making for that purpose because he will not cooperate with me, but I was representing myself, and so clearly I didn't do very good. Okay, all right, thank you.
Tiffany, you're doing great. And you already seem so much like calmer and more grounded this week than you did last week. So I hope that
I-
you're feeling good about that.
I have OCD, I have OCPD, and so this forum makes me nervous. So this is my
Sure.
second time with it, so
Yeah.
that I might, and I do feel like I've probably gained a smidge of confidence because every time I talk to, like I've talked to you or my attorney, or even like my sister or my older daughter, she's 33, all the things that they suggest, I'm already doing, I'm trying to do on my side. I can't force him to cooperate,
Right.
and so I do feel like I know the right thing, like I have a good mother's instinct.
Yes.
I've just started second guessing myself anyway. Okay.
Well, great job, Tiffany.
All right. Thank you.
Sarah, do you have any other questions I can help you with today?
I do. Thank you so much for asking. Following up on Tiffany's question, I completely sympathize with that. I have a now 20-year-old who's the oldest in our court case, our children, who is in full guardianship. And we divorced in 2014, so we've had a long road between the two of us in litigation and family court, with our son being in a group.
I lost you, Sarah.
Works along, it's child-centered, so, and they were able to submit documentation to court, and long story short, it worked out really, really well, and it debunked or took the wind out of his sails when it came to mom versus dad, and made it more child-centered. Fast forward to now, I have a 20-year-old, and this is my question for you, Billy. I know that you have attorneys in Tucson that handle guardianship. Do you have anybody in Maricopa County?
Yeah, you need an adult guardianship.
Correct. I have full guardianship. From what I've learned in probate court, we have a very special circumstance. I have sole guardianship. However, we have this ridiculous family agreement between my ex-husband and I where he has visitation, and it purely links to child support. So I need to modify the guardianship orders, but guardianship is very confusing. So what I've been told by his guardian ad litem is that I should just modify um, the guardian, like the stipulated agreement that we have, because he doesn't see him as like he should see him. In fact, this last week, Father's Day, was the first time he'd seen him since September. So I just need somebody to help me with that. I already have full guardianship. He'll probably contest everything going forward, but I'll just file for mediation to help that process along.
Okay, can I ask some questions?
Yeah.
So if you have, okay, the stipulated agreement between mom and dad, is that through family court, or is that part of the guardianship?
It's part of guardianship.
Okay. And it's enforceable? You have to follow it?
Yeah, apparently, yes. But as I was told through his guardian ad litem, that it directly mirrors our family court case. Now, he's my son's attorney, so there's only so much he can tell me, correct, and as how to handle all of this. But his advice was it directly mirrors our family court case, and that with our guardianship case, it is a very special circumstance, to the point where a seasoned 20-year attorney that handled the case had never done an agreement like this, but it is enforceable.
Okay. So why not? I mean, one question is why not put it on dad to enforce it? What
That's
happens if
what
you
I'm
just
waiting
ignore
for.
it? What
That's
happens if
what
you
I'm
just
doing.
ignore it?
That's exactly what I'm doing right now because it's costly, right, to then file and do all that stuff. So that's been my approach in family court for the past 10 years is wait for him to make that move, and it's led to multiple rulings of misleading and judges, my attorney fees being assigned to me in judgment. And,
Oh,
so I'm really doing, which is a fun thing to collect, by the way, because yeah, it just racks up. So that's my intention right now. I'm just waiting for him to um, make his move on that because it's a separate attorney than his family court attorney. Thank God. But modify it at some point in time from Austin's or my son's attorney's perspective, as it does need to be modified for Austin's benefit at some point in time.
okay. So do you still have minor children in family court?
Uh, we have one left.
Okay. Okay. So you've got this minor children in family court. You've got a parenting plan for that minor children. You've roped in the adult, and the family court no longer has jurisdiction over the adult, but the
Correct.
guardianship references the family court agreement. And so it kind of may or may not be enforceable because you have full guardianship, so you're allowed to change your mind. It's an
Correct.
interesting situation.
And it is in our because our 20-year-old, I'm also his direct care provider, so it's against Article 9 to enforce him and make him go see his
Totally.
father. But
Totally.
according to probate and family court, they could care less about Article 9. So my solution to that was okay, so as his care provider, because I'm his sole care provider, if I'm not allowed to enforce him, I will clock out. Father can come to our house and get him ready and make him go. I mean, he's 6'4" and he does not want to go. All of that's been shot down. Like that's not. He doesn't want to do any of that because he doesn't want to be hands on. He just wants to be the fun dad. So that's been my approach. Is I still am legally bound to my profession's boundaries of what I can and can't do. And Article 9 strictly states you could not force the individual to do something they do not wish to do.
Yeah. And again, family court has lost the ability to enforce any provisions for your adult children.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, that does sound very complicated, but it sounds like you're navigating it very well.
Yeah, it's a lot of education. Family court was one thing, but then you throw in probate on top of it, and it's been that's a whole nother messy. So I was just looking for an attorney. I found a couple. The original one I used, I don't really necessarily want to go back to her, but somebody that I could consult with as needed,
Yeah.
that type of thing.
So Israel Ortega in our office is here in
Okay,
Maricopa County and does that, and you can talk with him.
perfect. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. All right, Tiffany, any other questions for today?
No, not off the top of my head.
All right, awesome. So since that is everyone, I do have Mallory in the chat and Carla. Mallory and Carla, do you guys have any questions in the chat that we can help with? All right, it sounds like no. So everybody have a beautiful day, and if you have Thursday off for Juneteenth, enjoy your day off and have a great weekend.
Thank you, you too.
Bye.